Good evening, gentle listener, and welcome to Distractible. This episode, Wittering Wade demands his dudes divulge all the doltish dilemmas they've dealt with. Bulletproof Bob cages his kid. Has hose horrors. Is confounded by cones, contactless cards, and boundary blunders. Methodological Mark masters aquatic computer coolants, complains about crops, conceptual cleanliness, and 3x3. From modern mundanity to tedious taxation. Yes, it's time for the dumb of humanity. Now sit back and prepare to be distracted and enjoy the show.
Hello everyone, welcome back to another episode of Distractible. I'm today's host, Wade, even though it should probably be a joint host because Bob and I last time just absolutely crushed, saving you all lots of money. But Mark selected a winner, we honor the rules. I am joined today by my co-hosts, Mark and Bob. Hello boys.
Hello.
Hi.
Hope you're well. If you guys have never been here before, the way this show works is one of us hosts, the other two compete for points. Whoever has the most points at the end hosts the next episode. And we usually start, and we'll continue to start with this episode with some small talk. So anything new going on? How's life?
It's kind of gotten a little stale. Not having the most interesting stories to talk about, or the most captivating escapades in my life and existence. Far beyond the experiences of most people. But now it's a return to normalcy. It's getting into routines,
Has that been an easy transition, or has it been like surprisingly difficult after like 2 years of like regimented work?
I mean, it's always easy to fall into a habit. I've been sleeping in, which is very uncharacteristic for me. I usually have been wake up at 6 a.m. every day. Even if I don't get out of bed right away, it's always 6 a.m. I've been sleeping in until like 7:30, 8 sometimes. Today was 8:30, so it's getting later and later. Just keep staying up more. I've been playing Elden Ring, so that hasn't helped much.
Yeah, I sleep until, 8:30, noon, 1. Bob, what about you? You get to sleep in a lot, right?
Oh yeah, all the time. No, having a baby is like easiest thing ever. I don't know why people complain about it. Leave him in his cage.
I've heard that crate training your baby is actually the best way to get them to obey you.
Well, anything new in your life, Bob?
I bought hoses. Hoses are complicated. I say this in a way where I appreciate that like building buildings in general is complicated, but why do hoses end up where they do? What happened? Who thought, oh, that's where the hose should go? They'll definitely use it there.
Oh, you mean like where they put the spout on the house?
Yeah, our hose bibs on our current house are both on sides of the house. They're on opposite sides of the house, and they're both in areas where it's like, one is impossible to access because it's behind a bunch of bushes and a big-ass tree. And the other one is on a side of the house where there's nothing. It's on the side of the garage in an empty side yard where you wouldn't need a hose ever. There's none in the backyard. There's no hose in the front where you might like wash a car. I was like, oh, I'll just get a hose. I'm going to wash the car because it's getting kind of dirty and we don't have any hoses. But you can't just buy a hose. You need a thing to put the hose in, but then you need a thing to connect that to where the hose bib is. So you have to buy multiple hose. It's just, there's a lot of hose complications that I didn't foresee. And I've made 2 trips to the store specifically to get hose stuff. And somehow I still need to go buy some more hose accessories to fully complete what I wanted to accomplish with our hose situation.
I kind of love that. Mark, do you have anything else to add before I transition? Because that's a great segue.
Well, I mean, I guess not. If it's such a good segue that I would be detrimental to the process.
Well, would it be detrimental? No. Like if you have small talk, man, the floor is open.
No, well, I mean, I do of little things that I've been working on, but I don't want to bog anyone down with my really cool ideas and things.
Is it lenses and or render farm?
No. No, maybe you'd actually appreciate it. Because it's only adjacent to it. I'm trying to get back into water cooling. So when you're building a computer, and this applies to people out there, you can have the option of water cooling components, and it's kind of like it's a higher level way of building a computer, but it can yield like a lot better results than just air cooling, because if you have a bunch of fans in your computer, the computer that I built for you was air cooled, it wasn't water cooled. There was just like a big old air cooler on it, I think, unless I did put it in
It probably had an AIO, didn't it?
That one with the Threadripper was the last one that I built there.
Oh, maybe not. No, maybe not.
Yeah, I have no idea. But either way, I've been getting into water cooling again because there's a lot of really funky new developments in the world of water cooling, and I've really wanted to try immersion cooling. Have you guys heard of this?
I have actually.
No.
So immersion cooling is literally what it sounds like. You take your whole computer and you stick it in a liquid. You go,
And that's okay for it?
that's okay for you. It's so good for it, actually.
It has to be the right kind of liquid.
Yeah. It can't just be spit or piss or something like that. Yeah. So you get a special fluid that's called dielectric fluid. It's non-conductive, so that when it's in there, it's not going to like zap. Because the thing is, pure water is actually not very conductive. It's the impurities in water that cause it to become conductive, and that can cause it to short out, and then it'll go kabloom. So you need a pure whatever this fluid is. You can't have like dust getting in it or anything like that. It takes some cleaning required, and there's some extra things. But the way you can do it is you can take your whole computer, really dense, like get the density way up, and stick it in a vat of fluid, and it'll circulate the fluid, and it'll cool all the components in it, right?
Do you run the computer while it's in there?
Yeah.
Okay, go on, expound.
So it's dielectric, right? So the fluid is entirely non-conductive. So all of your plugs and stuff in the computer, you power plug, it's in there. You know, it's powered, it's got all the peripherals in there. This is usually for data centers and stuff like that. But there are people that, you know, their home computer, they basically get a fish tank, right? And they just put they build their whole motherboard and stuff inside the fish tank, and then they fill it up with this fluid, and you'll see it. It's pretty cool. I can actually pull up like
because I'm picturing like your tower, you just shove it in a kiddie pool, and then all the wires and stuff, it's like, does it just like bend up to come out of the tank? Are there like, how do you turn it on if it's in the tank? How do you keep it from getting impure?
It's real tricky, but this is it.
Okay, so like the tank is also the tower. It's not like the tower in a tank. The tank is also the tower.
So this one's trickier. I think this one is at a higher risk of problems because the top is open, right? So you see the cables going into the top. The back of the motherboard is at the top of this fish tank that's in front of everyone. And so the plugs go in the top. Now the problem with this is dust and impurities can get into the fluid this way. It's not sealed off. Ideally, you want something that's more sealed. And the other issue here is there's probably not as much circulation. I think it's just more of a kind of a funny build that actually looks like a fish tank. But in industrial applications, you put your entire server rack inside this fluid, you can get the density up, you just need it to circulate things, and it's weird. It's super weird to look at. Your mind goes like, that's not right, but it works. It works, and it works well. It cools things really efficiently.
How pure are the rocks and the Fruity Pebbles?
Oh, essential for that. Yeah, you want your 90s ass color scheme, glow in the dark rocks at the bottom so that you can really get all the gaming juice out of your components. Yeah, so I'm looking into this, and I'm probably going to break some things.
For a computer or for a server size stuff?
For server size stuff, but the problem is, you know, everything server sized takes a premium, so I'm trying to like see if I just get a big enough, you know, horse drinking trough. If I do that, maybe there would be a way.
How annoying is this to change out? Like, let's say a part fails, you have to replace a part.
Pull it out, you shake it off a bit. I mean, it's about as annoying as like you can imagine it is. It's literally dunked in a fluid that's probably slightly toxic.
But like, can you put your impure fingers in this liquid without having to replace the whole liquid?
No, you should wear like gloves and stuff.
Ideally, you know, you're doing this in a very professional way, but, you know, I'm not the most professional person.
I mean, they make like filtration systems. There must be a type of filtration that you could use to filter your dielectric juice. Is it expensive? Is dielectric liquid, water, whatever? Because it's a special thing, right? You don't really buy it in 50-gallon barrels. You buy it in, you know, smaller containers than that. You know,
like paint, where they have that special paint that's so dark, it's like only 0.1% reflectivity?
Sure.
That is very expensive, but you can get black paint that is like 2% reflectivity, still extremely dark, for way cheaper than that, right? It's the same with these fluids. Some people have proprietary fluids that are crazy expensive that they have patents on and they sell because it's that much better at non-conductiveness or non-cooling or cooling capacity or stuff like that. And so these companies want to sell them at premiums, but there is dielectric fluid that you can get that will not be as expensive.
That's cool.
So if everything blows up, a lot of my things seem to like have a high risk of electrocution and explosions, but that's how you know you're really, really starting to get somewhere.
You're also starting to push your drowned man saga on yourself because like you're power washing on your roof and now you're getting liquid on your computer. You're starting to really toy with liquid. And as someone who deals with liquid, it's a dangerous game.
I had a crazy idea what if I pumped air through my pool? You know, because I thought Linus, you know, when he did his pool cooling for his whole server where he ran tubes, his problem was that he did liquid cooling underneath the pool. I'm like, what if you just pump air through the pool and then blow that air in and you got a cheap air conditioner, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is there perpetual energy idea? Not perpetual energy. What if is there a way that you know how your water is pressurized, right? So you got water. What if I have my water pipe, I build an illegal extension to go up really high, have it pour onto a giant water wheel that's going to generate electricity, but at the bottom of it, I just have it pump back into the pipe where it came out of. That way the water company never knows. They never know.
Yeah, no, they don't have anything for that. They have no idea.
That's how it works, right? I just have the open pipe at the bottom and it funnels right back in.
It would work.
I just put the negative pressure terminal. Yeah, I just put it in reverse. Yeah.
Like I have some questions about it, but I'm just going to not ask them and assume you're correct. Unless there's anything else, great small talk, I think. Bob with the hoses and Mark with the water, the new wet man. So the reason earlier I said that there was a great transition, and maybe, you know what, Mark, you might be a part of this great transition too, was Bob was complaining about the orientation of the hoses not making any sense when they're placed. I want to talk about the dumb of humanity. Just things that people do that are dumb, which can be things like designing houses dumb.
I have one.
I have many.
Well, let's take turns here, and I guess Bob, you said you had one first, so I guess you get to go first.
Dear every teenager who works at a Dairy Queen with a drive-thru.
Very specific, okay.
When I order multiple things, most of which come in cups, but one of which, or possibly more, is a cone of ice cream, the first thing you hand me out the window is not supposed to be the very melty and topsy-turvy cone with ice cream on it. Before I even hand you my credit card, if you're sticking an ice cream cone at me, you're wrong! Every ice cream place I've ever been to, which is mostly Dairy Queens, but there are other ones where you drive through. Why the fuck do they give you the ice cream cone first? Do that last. I'm doing shit here.
Do you think, not that that's not dumb, but do you think that maybe that's like a policy because usually it'll go to the kid in the back seat and they're like, this will shut that child up, and maybe the company, being such a family-oriented company or something, is like, make sure the kids get the ice cream first. They always want it. They'll scream, they'll rant, they'll rave. We'll get complaints. They'll get complaints.
Their finances are built around shutting kids up.
I understand the mechanics of a drive-thru can be complicated, and I acknowledge that it would be tough to do this, but I would posit that in every scenario, regardless of who gets what, the ice cream cone should both be the last thing that gets made because it's the simplest thing and also the meltiest thing, and it should be the last thing that you hand to the person. I'm so fucking, a lot of times I'll go like pick up ice cream and bring it home, right? If I'm the only one in the car, I'm not handing shit to nobody. And then you hand me an ice cream cone and then you're like, oh, here's your credit card. Oh, do you want your receipt? Oh, here's a whatever, and it's all balanced. Listen, it's a minor thing. It doesn't ruin my life. Does that not occur to anyone ever that maybe to save the ice cream cone for the last thing so that way it melts as late as possible? And also you're not trying to hand me 1,000 shits with one hand tied behind my back in a car where I'm dripping ice cream all over my goddamn car.
Doesn't it also feel like the thing that they're stuck holding instead of doing other things while they're helping you? Like they're stuck holding that, waiting for you too.
I should just not take it. Like they hold it out. I'll be like, I'll take that in a second. Give me the other stuff.
I suppose you could say that. What would they do? Would they throw it in your car?
Sir, this is getting melty. It's a problem.
They'd be very inconvenienced, I can tell you. They would probably not be very pleased about that situation. It's not ideal to have to do other things with your hand. Anyway, minor thing, doesn't ruin my life. But this happens a lot in drive-thrus. I get that whoever's working in a drive-thru window doesn't work there because they're passionate about being the best drive-thru worker that they can be. And that's I'm not offended by that. But when I worked at a restaurant, I did think pretty carefully about like, all right, what am I doing here? What am I handing them? What are they about to have to do? Should I hand them this now or should I hold on to that? I at least gave it a moment of like, what's a good order? I didn't just stick my hand out with whatever I happen to be holding and hand them shit in the most inconvenient order imaginable. But it's fine because, they make $8 an hour. Maybe they probably make less. Like they probably don't make enough to give a shit, and that's not their fault.
All right, Mark.
I got one. All right. So name an American from back in the founding days hero. Just name one.
But this feels like a trap.
Might be, or it could just be a lead-in,
Thomas Jefferson.
No. Bad pick, bad
it
pick.
was a trap. I thought it was a trap. I knew it was a trap.
Wade, you got a guess?
George Washington.
No, come on, not a founding father.
Alexander Hamilton.
No, not a founding daddy.
My name is Alexander Hamilton.
Who's that guy whose name they yelled? Paul Blart. What was the guy's name?
Paul Blart Mall Cop. Capital Mall Cop.
Yeah, what was his name?
Paul Revere's great uncle, Paul Blart.
No. Johnny Appleseed.
Was he an American hero from the time of the founding of our country?
I don't know, but everyone knows Johnny Appleseed, right?
You remember when George Washington and Johnny Appleseed cut down that apple tree and they had that big fight over it and they had a big divide?
Throwing apple seeds all over America, right? Planted apple trees everywhere, right? You remember that? Where are the apple trees?
They're in the orchards.
Where are they?
George Washington cut them down.
This is that meme, Mark. It's under the cheese.
It's under the cheese, right? No, they didn't. They talked about Johnny Appleseed, but they didn't talk about Billy No Fruit coming back behind him and moving all the apple trees into private orchards. Here's my thing that people are dumb about: fruit trees or fruit in general. That shit grows so easily. I had an orange tree, and I get that not everyone has a house. I'm not talking about literally you don't have to own one. I'm saying that there is land everywhere that fruit trees could grow in abundance. You could have public parks, but no, in cities, there are actually ordinances that you can't have fruit trees because people would eat the fruit.
Birds are also a problem. We had a fruit tree in our old house, and we didn't even know it was a fruit tree because before the fruit grew, the birds had eaten it all. So we were there for 2 years before we even knew we had a fruit tree.
Yeah, no, that's what I was gonna say too, is if you have a fruit tree, it's not super difficult to take care of, depending on what kind it is. But if a fruit tree grows and it's no one's responsibility, there are things you have to do to actually take care of a fruit tree. You can get a lot of like bees, nuisance stuff, birds shitting everywhere. There's a lot of fruit trees or bushes that you could grow in a lot of places where it's like just free. It's just free fruit for people if they want it.
I was at a friend's house in Cincinnati, and they got a place in Kentucky with some land. Anyway, so they have land, and they were just like, oh yeah, all these are blackberry bushes. They're about to come in soon. We'll be drowning in blackberries. And it's like, oh yeah, blackberries grow like a weed. The dumb thing that people do is food grows in the dirt, and it grows pretty much on its own for the most part. There are certain plants that you can just like let loose and they will grow more fruit than you could ever hope to imagine. Your lawns in general, if you have a home, are such a waste to grow grass. It is such a waste to just grow grass when you could grow vegetables, potatoes, carrots, onions. Onions, we got an onion from the store, and I was curious, a tiny little green onion, and I was curious, so I put it in a planter in the back. 2 years ago, that onion grew a stalk over the past couple of years. The last stalk they did, this big around, a tiny little scallion from there, this big around. I can see the bulb start to erupt out of the ground. The bulb of that onion is about this big and threatening to burst. I didn't do a damn thing to that onion. And there's been multiple years where a snail has come by, eaten the entire stalk. I was like, oh, that onion's done for. Next year, even bigger. Huge flower. Just poof, giant flower. It's that shit, you can't stop it from growing.
Rumor has it the core of the earth is an onion.
But what I'm saying is like food. It like people, if everyone, or if we took advantage of more of the land that we had to actually grow things, like there's so much more. When I go to Korea, and people can say like, oh, the culture is so like is impractical. In Korea, around my grandma's house, every single house, their yard is a garden. Their yard is literally not a garden. It's a farm, basically. The next door neighbor grows peppers, and they have so many peppers. And it's just like all they do is every day they do take care of it. It does take some work and upkeep. But across the road, there's just all these cabbages, and they have tons of vegetables, carrots, and they just grow it because you can. And why shouldn't you?
All right. Why we grow fruit dumb? Bob, back to you.
I was so enraptured by Mark's thing that I failed to think of another thing that I have an issue with. Oh, wait, no, I have one. Think of a hero from the time of the founding fathers. Give me some heroes from the late 18th century.
Bill Burr.
T-Man.
Wrong. I'm thinking of Sir William Credit Card, inventor of what we now know as the modern credit card. At the time, a lowly piece of wood onto which you engraved debts and then had them erased by the person to whom you were in debt. It doesn't work the way it used to. But Europe has had contactless payment for decades. I was in Europe in the 20-aughts, and they had tap to pay, right? You've probably seen this. If you're an American, you've seen this. Some places currently have where you can use your phone or you can use just your credit card if it has the little NFC chip and you just tap it. Europe has had that shit for 20 years. Why isn't that everywhere yet? Why do we live in a world where I still have to swipe my credit card at places where now the scammers are so sophisticated that you can literally make a little thin piece of plastic, tape it on the top of the device that you swipe your credit card on, and it'll just steal credit card numbers. You will actually they're called skimmers, and there are tons of elaborate little devices that they stick right on, and when you stick your credit card in it, it just steals your info. Because it's that easy technologically to do that. Why does that still have to happen? What? And it's not even this isn't available. There are places around me that are relatively new stores. They have relatively new point of sale cash registers and stuff. They have credit card machines that have the little symbol on it and that say tap to pay or insert your card. And then you go to tap your thing and they're like, oh, it doesn't do that. And this is another thing like the ice cream thing where it's this doesn't ruin my life. I have a credit card and that I can capable of that. But why the fuck is that not ubiquitous? Who doesn't want to just be able to have your, my watch? I could do it with my watch. I could leave the house with nothing but my Apple Watch. And if I lived in the right place, I could just go buy whatever I needed. I forgot my wallet. Not a problem. Because I can buy shit with my phone or my watch or whatever. Why is that not ubiquitous? It's just stupid. It's not a necessity. No one's going to die because you don't have contactless payment. It doesn't really cause the problems. Although one time I went to Home Depot because I was desperately trying to find a specific thing and I forgot my wallet, and Home Depot doesn't have tap to pay in any of their stores for some fucking reason. Stupid ass orange douchebags.
There goes the Home Depot sponsorship. We'll cross that one off.
Sorry. If you want to sponsor us, I'll take that back. I'll rescind. Let me know. Email me.
You get Lowe's only. Lowe's for life for Bob.
No, I'm a Menards man now. Yeah, it's just a thing of I just default to getting my credit card out anyway, because I could maybe tap to pay, but it might not work and there's no guarantee. And so you might as well just save yourself the hassle and the awkwardness of the cashier having to be oh, that doesn't work. Sorry, but and it's I'll survive, but that's stupid. I was gonna say even Disney has it, but I don't know if that's true. Don't they have wristbands in Disney where you can tap it to buy all the stuff or something now?
That Jenny Nicholson video? I think Disney tried to sue her.
I remember seeing something to that effect. They were quite unhappy with it. And so they were trying to get the video down or something. The thing is closed. What's she damaging the business of the Galactic Star Cruiser? It already failed. What are they embarrassed about? It failed just as publicly as if she didn't talk about it.
What you got?
This one's kind of not about the specific thing. It's about more of a concept, right? So clean coal.
Clean coal.
Sure, I'm with you.
It's not, I'm not saying this in coal is bad. It's not good, but
It's the world we live in.
You're not saying coal's bad, you're just saying it's not good. I got you.
You're just saying anyone that works in that industry is a bad human being.
Exactly. I'm glad we got that clarified. No, it's the fact that clean coal I don't, not the phrase. It's about that phrase. I have been mad about that phrase for so long, and not for any other reason than the fact that the people saying it had the audacity to not only believe that it would work, but the fact that it did in fact work. The sheer stupidity, the layers of dumb that have to be stacked on top of each other for the concept of clean coal to have a thumbs up from so many people is one of the core pillars of why I lose faith in a lot of people. The phrase clean coal. You know what the difference is between coal and clean coal?
Nothing about the coal part.
Nothing.
It's the same coal part. They just put a plastic baggie over the exhaust pipe and then put that somewhere else.
Yeah, it's just like, it's the whole concept that this coal is, it's a marketing thing, right? Because it's like the idea, like this coal, oh, it's better. It's clean. It's clean coal. And it's like, if there's one thing that we know about coal, especially for the people at the bottom, like the miners, is that they call it the black lung for a reason, you know? It's not great. It's not a great thing. It's not a great, it's very toxic when you burn it, and it's also, but all that aside, I'm not talking about the coal. I'm talking about the acceptance of this phrase and the fact that human nature will buy it, will believe in it, will trust it implicitly. Because if you put one word that people like next to one word that might be questionable, and you make a super word out of it, and then humans will just look at it and be like, oh, it's a new thing. Oh, it's new. It's the same exact thing where people slap AI on everything. There was a whole video that someone did that was just like, this shit has to stop, where they were like, this is an AI mouse, this is an AI keyboard, oh, these are AI speakers, oh, this is an AI remote control, you want your AI lens cap for your AI camera. And it's literally, now that is the marketing gimmick, is you slap AI.
What about clean AI?
That is also what they're trying to do.
That's the future of AI. That's one of the big problems of AI, is that it's consuming so much energy that alone AI is going to cause more environmental impact. It needs to be clean AI.
I've seen some of the numbers with running AI and how bad that is. So yeah, cleaning it up.
Oh yeah, but that's the thing. That's the crux of it, is the human psychological trick where no matter how many times they see it, you put clean in front of it, oh, it's better. You put this word in front of it, oh, it's better. Oh, we can accept it now. It's like,
what about green coal?
That's for St. Patrick's Day. You just dye it green, and then the smoke coming out of the power plant's green for a day or two. It's fine.
Okay, so if pollution and all that's bad, why don't we just build an exhaust pipe that goes through the atmosphere and just dumps it into space?
Exactly.
Now you're thinking clean earth.
I just want to add to this on a grander scale. This is a thing I hate about myself in general, that this exact psychological trick works on me so easily. If there's a thing that I want to have in this world, or if there's a thing I want to hear and someone says it, regardless of how true or false it is about something, I want it so badly that I will immediately just be like, yes, this has solved all my problems, and get sucked in. And a lot of times I'll have that initial reaction, and then after the fact I'll be like, oh, this doesn't solve anything. This is fucking terrible. This is stupid. But I still hate that I have that exact reaction to anything, where it's like, oh, this is a new, different, this is a much better whatever. It's clean pewters. And I'll just be like, clean pewters? They did it. And then 10 minutes later, I'm like, God, I'm so stupid. Why did I think this was going to be good? This is not. It's the same. It's always the same. Fucking hate that. I hate myself.
It's a fascinating angle for a lot of reasons. I mean, I could go into the whole, there's a lot of things dumb with the energy systems going on, and like the companies that lobby for various things, and it's all boils down to lobbying. It's like that's what it always does. Whereas like I would think that there would be more people that would just be like, oh yeah, the more efficient way of doing things should be the more powerful way of doing things should be better. And it's getting to a point where it's like, yeah, solar panels are now cheaper and more efficient at generating electricity than a lot of things. Battery technology getting cheaper and more efficient. And it's crossing that point where it's like, actually, I think it crossed it a while ago, where it's like, the traditional ways of like energy production are just way, way, way behind. And I understand everyone's like, oh, you need the portable, power sources with gasoline to be able to put it wherever. And it's just like, but it's also just like, this stuff is cool by itself. It's actually cool by itself. It's interesting. It's fascinating. It's new technology. And I love new technology. And I've always been like, man, don't most people like new technology? Isn't that cool?
If it's clean.
Yeah, don't talk to me about solar unless it's clean solar.
Mm-hmm. Right, of course. Well, I cleaned my solar just yesterday, so.
Bob, do you have anything that rhymes with mean or green or clean?
Spleen. Fleen.
All right, you get credit for those since I asked you, so I guess.
Was that a Futurama reference?
What did I say? I don't even remember what I said.
I believe the fleen is the weapon of choice of Omicronians in Futurama. Isn't that what those things are called? Aren't they called fleens?
Yes, I made that reference. Yes.
If I was hosting, that would earn a lot of points.
I'll give him 1 point for you. Bob, I guess now it's your turn to earn points if you'd like, or we can earn some more for Mark. But do you have more things about humanity that just you want to shake your fist?
Probably.
It can be more specific too, like an occurrence you had with an individual or on the road. Like, it doesn't have to be like these grandiose things. We can take it down to like simpler things too, like the DQ one.
So I'm a spoiled brat, and because we live in a neighborhood where there is a company that mows like most of the lawns in the neighborhood, and when we moved in, I didn't own a lawnmower. We just hired them to also mow our lawn because it's like they're already here, and they do this professionally. It's a whole crew of people, and this is their whole. I mean, they're like a landscaping crew, right? So this is their gig. Our yard has a fence in the backyard. We have a dog. The dog stays inside the fence. That's sort of the idea. I feel like a lot of fenced in yards, that's kind of the point. So it's important that the fence stays closed. And our fence is helpful. The gates on our fence have springs. They want to close. They love closing. They yearn for the latch to slide satisfyingly into the receiver mounted on the post. Our gates are good gates. They know what they should do.
You sound just like Jack Nicholson when he's in A Few Good Men, like, you need me on that wall. You want me on that wall.
But one of our gates, the big one, which is big enough for like a riding lawnmower to go through, which is what the people do when they mow our lawn. If you open it too far, the spring loses its will to live and it does the opposite of what it's supposed to and pins it open. And that's fine because that's convenient. If you're mowing a lawn, you might want the gate to stay open for a minute so you can just go in, go out, get your job done. But if you arrive at a place where the gate was closed when you got there, for reasons that seem apparent in a yard full of dog poop and child's toys, and you enter the gated area and then leave the enormous double-wide gate pinned all the way open on a part of the house that, by the way, we have almost no windows where you can see it. So it's not like you can just be in the kitchen and be like, oh, the gate's open. It's at a place where it's very difficult to even see if it is open without literally walking around the whole house. They just leave it open. Lexi almost died one time because of this, because she got really freaked out. I burned some food on the stove or something and the smoke detector went off and she hates loud noises. And we were like, it's okay, go outside, run away. And she did. And she ran all the way away. And we found her 1.5 miles away from home, across a thoroughfare where the speed limit is 45 miles an hour in another neighborhood. Luckily, some other people saw her and were like, oh, she's got a cute little collar on. What? Hey, come here, dog. And she was like, oh, people, thank God. And went and hung out with them. And we were like crazy people running around in our sandals. I get that they're just here to mow the lawn. And they don't give a shit. And they probably didn't give it a second thought. Just close the gate. If you go into a property where there's a closed gate in a gated area, I don't care if you have to open it to do whatever you're doing. Just close it when you leave. If you enter a room and the door was closed when you enter it, maybe close the door when you leave it, or close the door when you go inside. Just leave it how you found it. It was a very traumatic experience, and Lexi now has an air tag, and we also check that. I check it out of fear all the time just to make sure the gate's actually closed. But like, just you open 80 gates a day, I'm sure, because you mow lawns all over here. Every day you're out in a different neighborhood mowing lawns. Just close the gate. Stupid lawn people.
Something similar in a similar vein, which is tragic, is there was a post, like there's a neighborhood group that like will just post whenever they see like, hey, there was a coyote, or hey, so-and-so's dog is gone. If you see this, someone in this worded a message to me very poorly where they were like, hey, we found this cat. It looked like this, had a collar, name was this. It's dead.
Oh.
And it was like, instead of saying, hey, we found a dead cat, like, I don't know. I feel like you start with that part first instead of giving someone the hope of like reading the description, like, yeah, our cat's missing. That's what it looks like. that's its name. That's the collar. Then you get to that line. Like, I don't know. It was.
It's a little messed up. Though they're like, we tried to give him some snacks. He didn't want them.
Yeah, like, I don't know. There was something like it's darkly funny, I guess, because, you know, it wasn't us. But at the same time, you think to yourself, like, how would I word that? Not like that. That seems like as soon as I would start to write, it's like, maybe I should lead off with the fact that, like, hey, unfortunately, a cat passed away. Here's what it looked like if you're missing a cat. I wouldn't be like, hey, anyone missing a cat? Looks like this. Name this. Has a marking here. Also fucking dead.
That's really sad. You should just not put that in there. And then when you meet up with the person, be like, hey, do you want your cat back? Like, yeah. Meet me. And then when they get there, just like toss it at him and be like, he's dead, and run away.
Like, yeah, I don't know. I laugh, but also, like, I felt horrible when I read that it wasn't even my pet, because I was like, who words it like that? To where it, like, gives you all of the hope, and then, like, you hit, like, the more button on the post to find out that, oh, yeah, by the way, it didn't make it.
Oh, it was below the fold? That's rough.
I don't know. For somebody, I was like, oh, thank God someone found someone's pet. And then, like, I got to that line. It's like, Jesus, man.
I just like to imagine all the people who read that, and they got to the point where they're like, okay, it's not our cat. And then they just left a comment. They were like, thank God you found him. Bless you. I hope it gets home safe. Not getting to the end where they just throw in that important detail.
If you're going to word something that's, you know, potentially very devastating for someone, maybe think about how you're wording it too. Close your gates, but also, like, just use your brain. It answers half of our stuff. But all right. Anyway, sorry. Mark, you're good. I wanted to share that.
Which number do you guys hate the most?
Johnny Appleseed.
4.
Close. No.
7.
No.
7.
Wrong. It's 9. I hate the number 9.
Because 7 ate it?
Because he's a bitch and he let himself get eaten.
Yeah, he lost I put a lot of money on that fight. He got eaten right in front of me. Man. Anyway, no, I hate 9 specifically, and it has to do with a lot of shopping, and this is another psychology thing. But this isn't even about, like, you price something $3.99 and it's like it's technically $400, but people go, oh, $3.99. You know, psychologically, I get that works. No, this is about gas stations, because gas stations do it worse than anybody ever has. And if we all stop to actually think about it for a second to realize how dumb it is, because not only they'll do the trick where it's like, oh, it's $3.49 a gallon, you know, and it's like, oh, it's $3.50. But no, there's more numbers onto the right of that number, and there's either a 9 or there's a 9/10, and it infuriates me. It infuriates me that exists. And if you Google gas station signs, at least in America, they're on every single fucking sign. It's every single fucking sign is like da 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 and 9/10 or da 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 9 in superscript, and it's like 9 because it's just because some marketing or finance guy or someone in some marketing department however many years ago was like, oh, if we add this 9 at the end, we'll make this much more money over the course of forever, and no one will know the difference. And I don't even care about that, because at the end of the day, I know people are stupid about gas, and they'll go to the gas station across the street that's 5 cents cheaper to save a whopping, $1 on their entire purchase and wait in line for 10 minutes, then go to the one across the street that's 5 cents more expensive or whatever. Or they'll drive across town and waste the gas that they would have saved. Whatever. That's not what I'm talking about. It's the fact that we let them get away with this stupid 9, this dumbass 9 at the end of these numbers it's just so, I want to just punch every single one of those stupid 9 out of 10 signs, because it doesn't make a difference in the grand scheme of things, and it just looks stupid. It's aesthetically unpleasing. It just is infuriating in every capacity, because it's not even at this point, it's not even like a good psychological trick. It's like 1 fraction of a penny. It's 9/10 of a penny. I don't care about that. I round up anyway. Like, if it's $2.49 and 9, I go, oh, it's $2.50. It's the fact that it's there.
9 out of 10 people agree it's dumb.
We should start a gas station chain on the premise that there will be no fractions, and in fact that there will be no 9s in the 1 cent place ever.
Like, it's whatever. Just do the 9 in the penny place like every other store ever has in the history of forever. We're on the border of abolishing the penny anyway, because it costs more to make than it actually has value. Whatever. It's useless. When's the last time you dealt with a penny?
But I got gas, man.
How many fractions of a penny you got? Because that's what they're charging you.
Well, don't you shatter your penny to buy gas so you can give them your 9/10 tenths of a penny?
Well, that's the dumbest thing anyway. They're rounding after the purchase anyway. They don't charge you a fraction of a penny. They charge you whole ass pennies. What right do they have to split the penny when the government itself doesn't offer a split penny?
This is a good point.
It should be illegal. They should be banished.
I actually almost talked about this. Do you know I think in most places, I don't know if it's every place, but in a lot of places in Europe, when you walk into a fucking shop, it just says a whole number next to products. If you go into a grocery store in London and you're like, oh, how much is this apple? And it'll just be like 2. Because it costs £2. And you know what's included in that number? All the taxes.
Oh, man.
In America, you look at shit on the shelf and you're like, oh, well, this is $4.99 and 9/10. But then there's like a 6.5% local sales tax. So that's additional. So it actually costs like $5.16 and 8 tenths of a cent. In Europe, if you walk into a store with a 10 euro bill, or in London with a 10-pound note or whatever, and you pick up something that says $10 on it and you walk to the cashier, oi, that's 10 pounds, mate. And they'll take your 10 pounds and they won't give you any fucking pennies back or anything because it costs what it says. This is the exact same thing you're talking about. It's a different context, but like, yeah, imagine that. The number on the shelf is actually what it costs and there's no fractions of pennies or secret taxes or whatever bullshit.
Yeah, and they do that because the government was like, oh, it's a predatory practice to make the amount you pay different from what the amount is on the product itself. And when I first experienced this, when I first went to Korea, like when I was a teenager and I was buying things, and it was like, oh, this is a certain number of won. And then when they said at the cash register, it's that number of won, I was like, what? It was mind blowing.
Where's the secret fees? Where's the secret? What are you gonna get me?
Yeah, exactly. And it's like, it's because it's the store's responsibility to pay sales tax. At the end of the day, it is still the store's responsibility, but they're putting it on the customer in a way that is, it's like, it's no different. It would be no different if the price on the product was including the sales tax. It would be slightly higher, but you're paying that anyway. But American capitalism wants to exploit human psychology as much as possible, and there's no legislation to offset it.
Yeah, no, I know this is a cyclical thing, and so this is not like a universal truth. Imagine there was a store like the gas station, but it's like a grocery store, and the whole thing of the store, they're like, if it says $9 on the shelf, you pay $9 at the cash register. You don't have to be in our secret club to get a discount. You don't have to buy 5 to save $7, but if you buy 6, you don't get, like, none of that bullshit. There's no fractions of pen. It just says a number, and you can add that number to all the other numbers and walk to the counter, and you'll know this cost me $27 for all these things because of math. I feel like people would like that just because it would be like, oh, that's refreshing. Imagine respecting me enough to just tell me the amount that I'm actually going to pay you when I walk out the door. Because it's the same shit in restaurants and stuff too. And that's extra weird because of like tipping culture and the way the world is and how waiters don't get paid enough money to survive without tips, which are not guaranteed and all this stuff. Imagine a world.
Oh, there's actually some states that don't allow retailers to include sales tax in the price.
That's backwards and worse.
Oh, wait a minute. Okay, this actually might be an interesting argument for it. Because each state has different sales tax, so if there's a national brand that sells in multiple states, it would be an undue burden apparently for the company to include the sales tax in all the different states possible. It would be varying prices instead of being to the state.
What is that, for internet?
I have no idea. Maybe.
I think that's a terrible excuse. No.
Yeah, no, Europe has a bunch of different countries anyway. That's stupid.
If you're comparing the economics of it, it would be equivalent to all the companies in Europe that sell in every EU nation.
The companies here are selling over there and have to do it.
Yeah, that's totally true. It's not an excuse because, yeah, the companies have armies of people to do shit like this. They can figure out a price for 50 states. It's just 50. They can do it.
It's a thing, too, where I don't care if companies have to deal with this. If it's business to business, B2B sales, I don't think it matters as much as business to consumer sales. If there are fees that a consumer is not aware of unless they magically know what percentage of sales tax they're about to have to pay, which if you're traveling in America, you have no fucking idea what percentage sales tax you're about to pay because you have a state and a local tax, and who knows? They're all slightly different. Businesses to businesses can calculate their own whatever and be responsible for that. But consumers, they should be given the common decency and respect of, here's a number, pay me this much. I did the math for you, so I know what the taxes are. Here's the number.
It would be very easy to set up anywhere in a store online. You would just have like an Excel type thing where it's like you put in the state and then it like adds the multiplier to give you the price right away depending on the state. Like it'd be such an easy calculation.
Get me worked up here, Mark.
It gets me worked up too. It's not fair.
I have one. This is an incredibly specific one that I just learned about. Actually, it's not even technical. I will lump this into Mark's. So we live in Ohio, and we just bought a Tesla because Tesla just had the 1% financing, and we were like, oh, well, that kind of works out. Like we were not honestly quite ready for it, but then the financing is such a good deal, and we were like, that's perfect. I'll see if it lasts. I hope the build quality lasts. We'll see. But so far, very fun. Drives itself. Very cool. And we went to get it registered the other day because we had like the paper license plate from the dealer still on it. And so we went into like the BMV and had our documents in order, and we were like, we just need a license plate, and give us a little sticker that says it's registered, give us a license plate, perfect. And it was all super easy, and we got to the end of the process, which was quick and simple, and the lady was like, oh, by the way, your car's fully electric, right? And we were like, yeah, well, yes, it's a Tesla. That's what they are. And he's like, oh, well, just to let you know, yours costs $200 extra a year to register. And I was kind of like, well, that's shitty, but okay, why? What is that? And she was like, oh, it's like a tax from the state. Because, they have taxes on gasoline, but you're not going to buy any gasoline. And so they're trying to get like the taxes from you that you would spend on gasoline by taxing your car registration for an electric vehicle, which, one, fuck you, and two, doesn't make any sense. Gasoline is taxed because people buy it, not because it exists. You pay the tax when you buy it. That would be like if I leased a car and they were like, oh, well, there's like a $4,000 tax on your car lease because we want you to buy the car and you're not buying the car, so you're not paying sales tax on that. So we're going to charge you the sales tax we would have charged you.
Yeah, that's fucking dirty.
Like, what the fuck? Fuck you, Ohio. That's the dumbest shit. And also, that came from the exact same people who would be like, give me my freedom. I don't want taxes. Except for if you have an EV, because EV is bad. Tax those because it just doesn't make any fucking sense whatsoever. It's kind of a spin-off of yours. I barely think that counts as a separate thing, but that just actually happened to me the other day. And it was not that poor girl's fault. And Mandy and I were both there together, and like we were obviously pretty pissed about this, but we were nice to her, and we were like, we know this, you're just doing your job. It's okay. How is everything so backwards and stupid with our money system and tax system in this place?
It's expensive trying to save money.
In other countries, they tell you how much taxes you owe. Can you fucking imagine that? All right. I can talk about this for hours. See, literally, though, in European countries, your government sends you a bill and is like, hey, you owe us $600 in taxes. If you just pay that, we'll be all square for this year. You fucking imagine what that would feel like? But I'm good. We're good. It's a fun car. It's a cool car. Drives itself. It's pretty cool. Oh, I forgot the lead up to mine. I went right into it. Okay, think of your favorite Civil War hero. And no, it's not the one you probably already thought of. I'm thinking of Corporal Johnny Gasoline Tax.
All right, I can tabulate points where we're currently at. Mark, I don't know if this is the same one or two different ones, but Appleseed, where are the trees? Fruit, PC, fishy, air pool. Why low food? Clean coal, not given or wreck. Futurama fleen, rhyme, gas, 9 out of 10. Fuck 9. Oh, stores make you pay. Bob, I have baby cage, hoses, DQ cone first, Sir William credit card, tap to pay. I want few good men, wait to close, goat, gate, plus tax, electric car tax, and Corporal Johnny gas tax. I have Mark at 13 points, Bob at 12 points. So I've got Mark one ahead right now.
Oh,
Wait, Mark, if you get this question correct, you'll give me one of, or no, I'll let you win. Hang on, I have a challenge. I challenge you.
We have nothing in the Constitution forbidding a duel.
I bet you one of your points that you don't know the answer to this question. And I bet that it's you do, but you don't, and you couldn't tell me. Come on, hey, you want to bet? You want to have us a little fun?
You know, why not? I don't think I think that, sure. You know what?
So if you get it wrong, I get one of your points, and you lose one of your points, and if you get it right, you keep your point and you win.
Is it a question that I could reasonably have a chance at?
It's a question that I've told you the answer to multiple times.
Interesting. Okay.
That's always gone well for us.
All right. You know what? Yeah, I'll do this. Yeah, I'll roll the dice on this.
All right, Mark, are you ready for your question?
Yeah, I'm ready.
What was the name of the treaty that ended the 30 Years' War in 1648? I told you you never actually answered this one correctly. Wade got this one in the episode, but I said this to you so many times. I know you know the answer to this question.
I can't believe it's all down to this.
I thought you both saw this coming immediately.
I did. To be honest with you, as soon as you said the question he knows the answer to, I was like, oh no, he's bringing up one of the 20 questions.
Oh, it's the Treaty of Hagar. Hadrian's Wall.
He's talking it out. I'll let you keep going.
It starts with an H, right?
No, not at all.
Oh, shit. God damn it. Oh, man. I can't do it.
Oh, I thought you were about to pull it out of nowhere. Wait, do you remember this one?
No.
I appreciate your honesty.
Hagar?
No, that's what Mark said.
Damn it.
That was Mark's.
I wasn't.
No, and of course the answer is the Treaty of Westphalia.
The RV, right.
That was my least favorite word.
I know, you guys couldn't fucking remember that word to save your lives.
Westphalia?
I looked it up. There are 2 new models coming out in 2025 of Westphalia camper vans.
Oh, fuck. That was the Winnebago.
All right. Well, I mean, Wade's the host, so are we? Is this happening? Or
you guys? There's nothing prohibiting a duel. Mark agreed to the terms.
Double or nothing, Mark. I'll ask you another question.
No.
That was the one that you guys had the hardest time. I'm pretty sure you'd get some of these other ones if I asked you.
No, it's fine.
Can you ask the Sputnik one again? I liked that one.
You want to see a cool thing? Would this give me any points? Look at this. See?
What is that? A screwdriver?
A little mini screwdriver, right?
Oh, is that a Fantic screwdriver?
Oh, you know it is.
I mean, if I gave you a point, it would be tied, and then you guys would have to do something for a point off.
Wheel.
Do you want a wheel?
Well, actually, no. Actually, yeah. Wait, if it lands on Wade.
I have to host again?
You have to host a one-man show written by us.
Every wheel has that on it? Is that a rule?
Yeah, and it grows every time the wheel spins, yeah.
Oh, no, then Bob, you win.
Can't believe you didn't go for that without thinking that you would remember. You know what? I appreciate your boldness.
I had a suspicion there was 20 questions, but I had confidence that, I remember all of those, right? That's what I really thought.
I think you would probably remember almost all of the rest of them.
The game's over. Bob, you've won, but why don't you try one more question on him to see if he would have gotten another one right? Anyone you want.
Mark, you were very close to getting this one, and I'm sure you'll remember it now after the trauma that it caused you. What is the rarest naturally occurring element on Earth?
Oh, fuck you.
I like how Wade made you answer. Another one, he was like, don't ask me.
Oh, of course not. I don't fucking remember.
I don't remember it at all.
Astatine.
Astatine. Oh.
Astonium is what you guessed before. I mean, I guess that makes sense, but.
Asubtanium. All right, whatever. Bob, you win. Any victory speech you want to give?
I think the takeaway from this episode for me and for anyone listening who listened to me talk is that I'm clearly getting older because I'm an angry, bitter old man who will yell about clouds in the sky given the opportunity. Look forward to more angry rants, probably about decreasingly important or decreasingly relevant issues in the future from me. That's the direction I'm taking right now. And thank you for the win. And thanks, Mark, for stepping willingly into my trap that I think hardly counts as a trap because you saw it coming from across the field, but I appreciate it.
All right, Mark, you have a loser speech?
Never be afraid to take bold steps. Cross over that landmine field. It don't matter. You'll probably make it.
You know what? I'm going to give you 9/10 of a point for that. It's not enough to win, but you have that 9 out of 10 now attached.
You rounded up. We basically tied.
Yeah, I'll tell you the final price at the end.
It's an episode where you pick a winner, give the winner speech, but then at the end you add fees and taxes and you tell us the actual points we ended up with.
But not this episode. This episode we're giving clean points. If you guys enjoyed this episode, check us out. Bob at MySkirm, Mark at Markiplier, me at Minion777 or Lord Minion777. We have merch, distractiblestore.com. Check it out. New stuff coming soon. Not exactly sure what, but I'm excited to find out. And I guess keep watching us on Spotify because you never know when something weird might happen on camera. So thank you all you guys watching. Stay tuned for the next one where Bob will host after sweeping the rug out from under Mark with a question Mark has gotten the answer to many times over the last couple of weeks.
Ask it to me now. I know it.
The battle in 1066 to mark the beginning of Norman rule in England. Mark?
Battle of Hastings?
Yeah!
Hey! Worth no points. Podcast out.